I guess over the 5 years of Dialed In, being an event, and then Dialed Industry, which is about sharing knowledge and creating opportunities for creative people, it starts to feel like there's an ecosystem building, and the record label feels like the natural next step.
I guess there's just a fundamental unhappiness as to how South Asian arts and culture was represented at the time. There's been a lot of quite cliched ideas around what our communities represent, and we wanted to showcase a very different side of that was quite raw and underground and alternative.
With Dialed In and this space in general, like, a big thing has always been about challenging preconceptions, who we are, what we look like, what we like as people. It's the same exact ethos that we took into the festival, where you could go into one room and you'll hear what you more expect of like the UK club sounds, but then you'd go into a different room and you'll hear like experimental noise, and you go into another room and it's just like a big pop kind of act. The way that sounds isn't one specific thing, it's an unpredictable move. So the label we want to take the exact same approach with, where it's like, okay, this is the first release, it's this genre, okay, maybe this is the kind of label it's going to be, and then like take a left turn with the next release and it's like something completely different.
Something a bit more alternative, a bit more cutting edge, something with a bit more of a story that isn't told just to change the status quo of what's expected from quote-unquote South Asian music, because you can't even really just say South Asian music now, because there's just so much nuance to that.
I think the label also is a way for us to show that we're trying to build a house. We're tired of trying to get a seat at the table, and we want to actually build that table ourselves. And the label is another extension of that. We want to hold the door open and bring everyone else in with us.
Yeah, we want to use the resources we have available to us here in the West and in the UK, and platform people that might be coming to the UK for the first time to perform, as well as building a global network between different diasporas too, from the US to Australia to different parts of Europe.
The first time we met in person was 2021.
You went to me, so what'd you think? And I said, what do you mean?
Oh,
For a site?
I had been approached by Waltham Forest Council due to the nature of the borough's quite large South Asian population and about running a project.
See, I remember this. I DM'd you because I was doing this other compilation. You were like, hey man, I've got an email from the council for this event. Can I call you?
Yeah, I think it was even more unspecific than that. We basically didn't have much time to turn our festival around. It was around 5 months that we, put the name, the team together, market and everything. And then, September 2021 was the first ever Dialed In at Uplands Business Park. And you could really just feel a lot of joy and energy in the air. I don't know what it was. It was like people had found their crew or whatever. Some people were crying. Some people, someone even wrote a poem about the day. And before you knew it, we had a little crazy motley crew of people that I was walking around with, including Subtracts, Skrillex, Sherelle, Elijah, like a lot of just like London legends that had come to check out the first Dialed In.
But I don't know about you guys, but it was just like, this is actually so lovely and meaningful. And there was something about that day with the sun shining post-pandemic.
It was wild. It was one of the most like raw emotional projects I guess I've ever been involved with. That first one, at the end of it, we were all just really taken aback, I guess. Off the back of the hype of the first event, people reached out to us because they wanted to play, because they'd seen what we'd done a few months earlier. And, never in our wildest dreams, or I think within 7 months, people like Fortet and Anushka Shankar would be like dropping into our DMs and being like, yo, I've seen what you've done, I want to be part of this, We're certainly not the first bunch of people to try and bring diaspora communities together to celebrate South Asian music, arts and culture. Many people have laid the foundations for us to be able to come and do this. I guess we're just trying to do it in a different way, and that's really exciting.
Between the first festival and the label, there have been a lot of different conversations that have happened. It's taken us 5 years of learning as well and listening. Us all going to Pakistan and Nepal and linking up with artists who are not from the diaspora. They are from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka.
I mean, that first trip to Pakistan in 2022 will probably be one of the best things I've ever done, you know. It was magical. I was crying, like I was absolutely crying at that first bit. And the connections that were made there, some of those people we've worked with extensively for the last 5 years.
And I guess similarly for you, going back to Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, it was just like completely reframing how I saw Dhaka as a city. As a Bengali, you know Dhaka to be this insanely chaotic, hectic city. And to see how that gets translated by the youth into their underground scenes, into electronic music, into the tunes that they play and the way that they party, that was like a complete, like I said, it completely shifted my idea of what that city is and who is there and what they're making. Meeting the people that were creating this underground that had kind of like been around for a while, but now suddenly started ramping up in the wake of the country going through a revolution. That whole process of like chucking out the Prime Minister whilst building this underground electronic music scene at the same time.
That energy in that room, yeah, when it kicked off, was one of the tears just be like, if I could bottle that energy, I've never been at a party that wild.
Being someone who's born in India and then going back to live there as an adult, I didn't get to meet a lot of the Pakistan crew until we were in Nepal.
Yeah.
And just actually like giving them that hug for the first time was like, I've known you for like
That
years.
moment in the clouds, in Nepal, at
Just
the
been
top
like-
of that mountain.
Daldin's it's such a privilege to be in this position to be able to facilitate that. When we started Dialed In, I had a full-time job. I was pretty set on being a journalist. I think the best timings for things are when you least expect it, and the label is just another extension of that. We didn't want to necessarily start a label. We've just started a label, and we hope that everyone can come join us on this ride, just like they have the last 5 years with Dialed In.
I feel like now is the time because that preconception that I was talking about is really being shattered on quite a global scale. There's this like really rebellious attitude. Whatever it is that you think I'm gonna make the complete opposite, but I'm still gonna have one foot in some sense of familiarity with who I am. It's about giving them the space to do exactly what they want, whether that be through their sound, through their visuals, through their like entire like artistic direction or journey. It's just a common thread that we always try and look for with the people that we platform.
Every bit of the catalog and every bit of what we release should be something that we enter with and exit with absolute pride and confidence.
It's all part of the same like wider cultural movement, and who knows what's going to happen, but like you just have to keep pushing on the boundaries and knocking on doors, and I feel like the label is the perfect like next step as part of that.
It's another platform, it's another way, it's another extension of the ecosystem that we want to be able to offer. If you look at like the first festival and how much it felt to people, hopefully the label can also feel that way. You know, having Dialed Industry as a creative careers arm to develop people within the industry, an events series globally that showcases talent within the live space. The record label thing is the next natural progression of that.
Because you know, we can put someone's music out, they can then play at the festival. You know, someone who might have gone to Dialed Industry might end up becoming their manager, and it's really just future facing. We're not doing this for ourselves anymore, we're doing it for the next generation. Are we done, yeah?
Cool.
Nice. Was that alright? Is that good?